Our guest today is a young, very talented Melbourne-based fashion design student who has already had fantastic success in industry competitions, and while he's still been studying, has set up his own label. I have great pleasure in introducing Min Nguyen.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, thank you for letting us be in your house.
Oh, I can't wait. We have so much to talk about today.
Yes, we do. Now, as I was saying just before, you've had some really fantastic success in industry events, and I believe from some information you gave me that you were one of the emerging designers in the Melbourne Cup competition. Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
So that was just last year, starting my first year of uni, and just the end of first semester, towards the Melbourne Cup Festival, I heard that they were doing a competition on, racewear. So decided to give that a shot and apply for that. And I sent in all my pictures of previous garments I did and a statement why I want to be in the competition. And I was really hoping I get it. And I got accepted in while I was having dinner with my partner. And I got to meet lots of people, meet lots of friends. And I had a really good costume as well and outfit for the day. So that was brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, wow. What made you want to become a fashion designer?
I guess back then I used to study architecture at RMIT, and I had a design background in me. But I felt like it wasn't something that I wanted to pursue, and it was still a job, but it wasn't really a lifestyle. And I said to myself, I really wanted to be able to pursue a job where it's a business, but also at the end of the day, I'm enjoying it at the same time and I'm revolving around it 24/7. So I noticed that, I'm always been interested in a bit of fashion, what I wear and what my family and my friends wear. So I took part in that, and, my partner got me involved to applying to RMIT in an associate degree. So I did that and I got accepted at a few institutes, but I chose RMIT at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I studied it for the first week and I said, yep, this is where I want to go. This is my home right now. I feel so at home, and it's been such a journey.
Yeah, fantastic. And how long ago did you start studying?
The program is 2 years in the associate degree, and I'm in my final year now. I've got one semester left.
Yeah,
so I graduate end of this year.
Yeah, amazing. And what would you say has been the most amazing experience that you've had during your time of studying there?
I think it's the learning curve. There's so much to learn, and it's just opened up my eyes a lot more on what the fashion industry is all about. As a customer, just buying things in the shops, that's only one aspect because you see the final product, but to see how you get from A to Z, the process and the whole experience of it is just thrilling. Yeah, and obviously the friends you make as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, amazing. So you said that this is your final year. So how do you think your design has evolved since you first started designing or studying?
Well, it's still based on women's wear, but I think it started off with a design based on evening wear and things like that, because my partner does a lot on evening wear, so I try to start off and expand from there. But now it has evolved into a lot of street fashion as well. So we've gone from evening wear to race wear, and now we've evolved into jackets and puffer sleeves. So I want to kind of have a mixture of that a little bit, because I'm still trying to discover what my aesthetic is, but I guess at the moment it's really still evolving, and it's going into streetwear and evening wear together. So a woman that's confident. I try to reflect on people like my mum, my friends and stuff like that. Oh yes, mum's a huge inspiration.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Because she has a lot of stuff in her wardrobe.
Yeah.
And I know that she's very you know, precise on what she wants to wear,
Yeah.
which is really funny.
Yeah.
And she always wears like these big overcoats, like these big long dresses when she's going out with her friends, the makeup and the earrings. I'm like, you know, I want something like that, you know,
Yeah.
a woman, cater to women
Yeah.
that, you know, have family, friends, even younger women as well.
She sounds very glamorous.
She is glamorous. Even when she's in her pajamas at home,
very
cooking in the
glamorous
kitchen.
ladies. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the sort of people I want to, you know, cater to.
Oh, lovely.
And obviously all the different shapes and sizes.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
beauty in everyone.
There is indeed. So you've already said who your client is and who you think of when you design. So how do you want that woman to feel when they're wearing your clothes?
Oh, I feel like when a woman wears on a garment, it doesn't even have to be my garment, but any garment, I want them to feel confident. I want them to feel exactly who they are. That's why, you know, with the clients that sometimes come to me, I don't really do like a range and, you know, quantities in production. I do a specific garment for that person. And the first thing I ask is, well, how do you want to feel and how do you want to look?
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, a lot of people like say, oh, I want to feel comfortable, or they have insecurities about themselves. They say, oh, I don't feel good about this, I don't feel good about that. And, you know, the surprising is that, you know, those are the things that I work with, their insecurities, and it just makes them look so amazing at the end.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that you put that level of thought and you really consider the individual when you're dressing someone. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, well, you know, I come as a customer myself, and when I put on
Yeah.
garments for myself, I have my insecurities. I'll be like, oh, you know, my tummy's too big or something, or
Yeah.
this shirt's too tight on me. I don't know if it looks really good. And, you know, I think about that when I'm with my customers as well. And, you know, I don't want them to feel like that when they're trying on garments or feel excluded, because sometimes fashion can make you feel excluded. And you need to be inclusive as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to push.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a little bit there about, you know, your thought process for the customer, but how would you describe yourself as a designer, and just touch on a bit more of what you think about when you design?
Yeah, well, you know, still studying in RMIT and trying to learn. I'm still an open book.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm obviously a new generation of fashion designers at the moment. So there's a lot of things I would describe about myself. You know, I consider myself as a business person as well at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because obviously fashion is a business as well.
right.
Yeah. But also, you know, I think of myself as a designer, you know, with ethical fashion as well, because they teach you that in school.
Yeah.
So we're doing stuff on 0% wastage on materials and that. But at the same time, I do want to bring a bit of glam, a little bit of that, you know, luxury to my range as well as a designer.
Yeah.
And not that I'm there at the moment, I want to be able to progress and let other people, you know, in the industry see me progress and take on that journey.
Yeah.
You know, because as a designer, I do one day want to be able to have my garment or something, maybe even potentially in the Met Gala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not reach for the stars,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. No, you just touched upon there about sustainability and ethics.
Yeah.
So how does that sort of impact your choices when it comes to design or even production, say?
I think it gives you more option actually, which is very good because it then makes you think strategically, you know, adding on to your business where you want to source for specific materials, specific suppliers, how you want to identify your brand and that.
Yeah.
And that's actually a very good thing because also you can be sustainable in your business in the long run. For example, for me, you know, back then when I first started, you just assume you source your suppliers and fabrics off from maybe some factory or something like that.
Yeah.
But you don't know that you can actually also do that from other fashion brand companies, you know, getting their offcuts and that, and maybe bargaining them what sort of material or what price you do for that whole entire box or maybe whole entire bag of offcut fabrics.
Yeah.
So it gives you a backbone on you know, who you are as a designer and how you make that range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of, not a hindrance because that's not the right word, but it doesn't actually limit you. You're saying that it actually gives you more possibilities because
Yeah.
it's a consideration up front first and foremost, and you can actually build from that.
Like for example, people when they say like 0% wastage, people just assume like, oh, you're just sewing a bunch of like off-cut fabrics. And when I say off-cut fabrics, it's just like, for example, fashion is like making a cake.
Yeah.
And you're making cookies in that, and you're making a cookie dough, and you're putting like, shapes onto your cookies.
Yeah.
And then you have your leftover dough. That's what we call off-cut fabrics, in fashion terms. And then you want to like you don't want to throw all those leftover cookies away. So you want to roll it out again and then make more, patterns and more cookies out of that. It's just like fashion as well, You have your off-cut fabrics. People tend to throw that away, and it's a huge waste. So, you want to buy those fabrics and then sew them up together to make, one big sheet, and then, make a garment out of that or something. And there's like lots of ways to do it. There's a lot of designers I've seen do that sort of stuff, and their garments come out so amazing. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that, I'm talking about when it comes to, 0% wastage, and that it really enhances you. Yeah, as a designer.
So talking about, you've gone into a bit about possibly the design process. When you're actually designing something, how does that process start for you? Do you sketch your ideas, or do you, just drape fabric straight onto the dress form? How do you start your process?
Well, on not an empty stomach, I'm eating food.
Number one,
make sure you've eaten a lot first. I guess after that, it really just comes to you naturally, like what you get inspired first. So for example, my last range, I was very interested in, mature age women.
Lovely.
Yeah. So
it's good to hear.
That's good. No, I'm fascinated about mature age women. Because, it started off with social media, people going, with skincare going, I want to still look young as I'm growing older, and I don't want that to limit me or anything. I'm like, yeah, that's the same with fashion as well. I want to be able to cater to that sort of stuff. So let's do a range that caters to mature age women.
Yeah.
Make them feel old, not old,
No,
make them feel younger. Make them feel younger, guys. That's right. Make them feel younger. Make them have their own personality, and obviously, huge inspiration right here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it starts off with that sort of thing, and then I go on and I try and brainstorm, do my journal. So a journal, I have all the things that I'm thinking of, it could be from colors, could be from fabrics, it could be from even pictures. Maybe for example, the stuff you have on Instagram, I might look at that and be like, oh, that's really inspiring, I might think of something like that. And then that gets me into doing stuff like military wear.
Oh, lovely.
Because that, mature age women, I look at their stories, and for example, Yayoi Kusama, she's an artist, a Japanese artist who's I think she's 60s, 70s, I'm not too sure. But she used to do military, she used to help the military and make parachutes for them. And then when I look at the backbone of each individual women and a range of women, what their backstory is, I try and find what's inspiring for me.
Yeah.
So it gets linked into military wear, and I start looking into parachutes and puffer stuff and things like that. And that's why the range that I'm doing now is inspired by puffer jackets.
Oh, right, fantastic.
And then I'm bringing colors into it, for example, yellow, mustard yellow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And try and cater that to, that sort of specific audience.
Yeah.
And yeah, the journey is actually quite amazing, because obviously when you start off, you assume that's where you want to achieve. But you don't realize that sometimes you go further beyond that, and the results are even more spectacular than you've imagined. So yeah, it's really, really rewarding.
Yeah, so obviously in a roundabout way we've talked about your label, but do you want to tell us about when you started the label, Minduc?
Yeah, so Minduc, so M-I-N-D-U-C.
Sorry, I said that incorrectly. My bad.
No, that's actually that's really good, because that's why I named it that label.
Thank you.
Because my name is Min, but I have my middle name, which is Duk, D-U-C. And that used to be my insecurity, because people used to say, oh, how do you say your name? Is it Duck? Is it Duk? Is it like, you know? And then it's like, oh, you know, like they can't really identify or associate to me and that.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be goofy as well as a joke, because when people say my brand, they're like, it's Min Duck or Min Duck. Like, oh, you say it so funny. It's not, yeah. So I like it.
Your own brand so
yeah,
funny.
just say it. Yeah, and I want people to be able to, because you know when you have design labels, people say, oh, for example, Peter Alexander. They go, oh, does your name have to have like a space in the middle? Because his brand is one name together, Peter Alexander. So, you know, people have a specific way to say their name. For me, I want people to pronounce my name, my label in different ways, and I'm open to that sort of thing as well.
Lovely. Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing I want to kind of cater, that relationship as well.
Yeah.
But specifically for my garments, for the range, it's just like I said before, it's just with confident women, just like, you know, for a special event or occasion. I'm branching out with my partner as well, because he does bridal wear. So we're trying to like see how things go together like that as well.
Yeah, sort of collaboration.
Collaborate on that as well. So we were thinking, his name is William. Yeah. So we're thinking of doing a collaboration one day, having another label called Will and Min, or Will Loves Min.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea of like,
what, with the love heart?
Maybe, who knows? But yeah, it might be too cheesy. It's like, Will loves me and who do you love? We really cheesy. But yeah, that's like the stuff that I'm doing with most of the labels at the moment.
Yeah.
Working on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about building the relationship at the moment for my brand.
Yeah. So with regard to sort of like social media and the online space, because it is such a busy space, how do you like sort of break through sort of the white noise of other people who are selling online to reach your audience so that you can actually make money out of it?
Yeah, for me, it's still a very new emerging label for me.
Yeah.
So I don't have much online, but through Instagram, I have people who reach me and go, are you able to meet up with me, like, you know, this time of the month to like work on a garment for myself, and this is my budget and stuff. So that's something I'm utilizing at the moment.
Yeah. And from what I'm hearing, because like I've picked up from while we've been talking, that I think one of the strengths that has come through is that actual collaboration with your inside your community is actually a way of sort of lifting others and getting yourself out there. That's the sort of message that I'm getting from what you've said.
Yeah, I think it's good. I've got like, you know, I've been taken under my director's wings. Yeah. So she's been helping me a lot on the production side of everything. I'm able to ask her a lot of questions. So that's really good, and you know, she's allowing me to work on her next winter range.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, while that's happening, I'm putting my label on pause until next month, because next month we've got a lot of like events coming up leading up to November. So, you know, that's the actual big time for me, from July to November, because those events at the time I get to go and see people in different communities, like for example the Australian Fashion Award people. Yeah. They do evening wear and that, and you make a lot of friends there, and you collaborate with a lot of designers, and you have a lot of customers and people who come up and talk to you. And it's also, you know, that period of like spring fashion as well. Yeah. So you get to celebrate that with your friends in fashion, and you get to see their work. Yeah. And yeah, it all comes together, and the graduate showcase and that in university. So yeah, it's a huge, big deal, you know, to have a good community and a good backup and a support system while you're doing your brand. Yes. And also studying it as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned your director. So are you working somewhere while you're studying? So who's the director? Sorry.
So her name is Miso. So she also studied at RMIT, but a few years back. I think she did it like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember. But we're doing like a maternity label. So when people think of maternity, they think of like, you know, those home clothes and things like that. But this is to cater to like, you know, women from working class. So we're still, you know, putting fashion into it. So that will be for 2020 next year.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I take it this is an internship you're talking about.
Yeah,
with this?
that's right. Yeah. Hopefully it becomes an actual job end of the year. Because I did speak to her about it, and the contract finishes in July. But yeah, I think we're planning to go a little bit further on that in the long run, so that's good.
Yeah, so lots of things coming up
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
future.
I'm excited.
Watch this space.
Woo!
So, just as a roundup,
Yeah.
if you could give advice to someone who's looking to come into the industry and looking to either study fashion design or become a fashion designer, what advice would you give them?
I think just to be very open-minded. I think being open-minded in this industry and studying this course allows you to learn a lot and allows you to absorb a lot as well, because it's like an endless amount of things you can learn in fashion. It's current, it's relevant, it's revolving, so you need to be, open-minded. Can be very critical, and that's important.
Yeah.
Because as a designer, you need to be able to problem solve, and be able to get feedback from customers, be able to get feedback from your team, your director, and that to be able to improve the range or improve your garments. And that's the same with RMIT or any universities that teaches fashion. You need to be able to improve on your assignments, improve on your projects as well.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn. So I say that's the biggest thing, and also just be very current and be very observant with the industry, like going to all the fashion shows, being aware of Instagram, being aware of not just what's happening in your community or your space or your country, but overseas as well, nationwide, worldwide as well. That's very important. The things that are happening now, like the Met Gala, did you see what's been happening? All the outfits, the theme this year. All camp. That was a really good one.
Amazing. I don't think some of the people really followed it, but there you go.
Yeah, I know. But that was one thing too that I love to follow. So that is my advice to
that
any
is
student.
really incredible advice. It really is.
Yeah.
So look, I think there's some really incredible things coming your way in the future.
Thank you.
Keeping an eye on you with great interest.
I can't wait to share, this journey, and I'm so happy to share the journey with you at the moment, from when I was just beginning the industry and the course up until this stage. So we'll see how it goes, throughout the next few years.
Yeah, definitely one to watch. So I just want to say thank you so much for allowing us into your fantastic home. It's been a real privilege, and we really wish you all the best.
Oh,
in the
thank you so much.
With Mindok.
Thank you.
Thank you.